Uh-oh. Gage says it's empty. Guess it's time for a beer, guys. What do you think? I think so. Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Greg. Welcome to Greg's Beer Reviews today. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hello, everybody. Thanks for stopping by Greg's Beer Reviews today. Ooh-wee, this should be a winner. All right, Dennis has been harping over this beer. That's my buddy in Florida. He sent me 4 of these in a beer mail package. He is so impressed with this. He bought those 4 and then went to another store and found they had 2 cases. Well, one of the stores had told him that they were only allowing 1 or 2 bottles per person for this. Then he got to that store and the guy had 2 cases of it and he didn't say anything about it. So Dennis bought all 2 cases of it and still had these 4 bottles being shipped to his house. So he ended up shipping these to me for my Christmas present. So he's such a pal. Love you, Dennis. Appreciate you sending these to me. This is Marshall Zhukov's Imperial Stout from Cigar City. Guys, I've got one of them in the fridge I just brought out to review tonight. And I've got he sent me 4 of these bad boys. I've got the other 3 in the closet, cellaring. I'm going to probably end up putting them in the fridge in the next week or 2 and keeping them cellared in a nice chilled environment. Just to see. A lot of these times these beers will mature in the bottles at room temperature where the yeast is still working, which is like 70 degrees or whatever. You don't want them to get hot. You don't want them at 90 or whatever, but at 70 degrees, which is basic room temperature, the yeast is still fermenting and still doing some kind of conditioning in the bottle a lot of times. So we're going to end up getting them all in the fridge for too long, though. Well, on with the show, and I'm flapping my gums here. This is a great big beer, too. 11% ABV, Russian Imperial Stout, Cigar City. In Cigar City, I think they're out of Tampa. Yes, Tampa, Florida. This is a summer offering from these guys. So this bottle has a date on it. This was put in a bottle on August the 31st, 2012. So here it is at the end of November, almost December. I don't know if it'll be December when y'all see this. It may be getting close because I'm a couple days ahead now. So with that being said, guys, I'm gonna read you some notes. It says, this Russian Imperial Stout is dedicated to Georgy Zhukov, arguably one of the finest generals of World War II. This beer is opaque black in color with notes of espresso, chocolate, dark toffee, and hints of blackstrap molasses. So, making me drool already. The English hop varieties provide a subtle herbal dryness and finish with a hearty slap of roasty espresso. And it says here, pair Marshall Zhukov's with mushroom, soyaka. I butcher some of this stuff, some of these words up. Solyank. Soyanka, dark chocolate, cherries, and ground wars in Russia. Well, we'll leave the last one out of there. I'm not much into the ground wars of Russia. We brew and release Zhukov in the summer, knowing that a beer of this heft reaches its full potential a few months after its release. So save a bottle for the cold winter. Well, it ain't quite cold dead of winter yet, but we're right at December, so this is done August, so we got September, October, November. So we've had 3 months, and we're going to let the rest of them sell for a little while longer than that. We might even do one 2 years from now and one 5 years from now. Dennis is coming up in the first of the year, and we're going to probably share one together then, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I can get him on camera and we'll do a side-by-side. He's never done that before, and just now getting him into the craft beer scene, so maybe he'll be comfortable enough by then. He's already been to Cigar City and did the tour and stuff, so he's got the bug. He's hooked. So that being said, Dennis, I hope you enjoy the craft beer revolution, is what I'm calling it, and I appreciate you sending these to me, guys. So with that being said, guys, let's get on with this one. Glassware, pint glass, Becker, the tumbler, the snifter. I got the Dubo glass, guys, 11%. I want to enhance the aromas. That's why I do this. The food pairing for this is a chocolate type beer, as they call it, so it goes well with your desserts. And on the glassware, I've got the Duvel glass, guys. So, like I said, you could use just about anything with Beckerstein in the mug. 11%, you know it's going to sell her well. It's going to sell her just about forever. I mean, this beer will keep 20 years. And maybe I would like to taste one 20 years from now and see what it tasted like. Hopefully I'm still on this planet, on this side of the ground, and not the other. Let's get it in a glass. Oh my God, this is black as... Look at that. That is the blackest beer I think I've ever seen. This is 60 weight. This is used shovel head Harley Davidson motor oil. Man, that head is the head is almost as dark as the beer. Oh man, that looks like if it wasn't for the viscosity, I would say that was black molasses, like a thin black molasses. My gosh, that head is almost black. It is dark brown. Wow, wow, wow. That looks impressive. And you can't see anybody, but my gosh, you can't even see through anything. That is the darkest beer I think I've ever seen in a glass. And the darkest head pouring on that beer. The bubbles are super tight. Wow. Very interesting, very interesting. Wow. Let's get a nose on it. You can't see through it. It's black. It's pitch black. Coffee, espresso, molasses, toffee, licorice, tobacco. Man, that looks thick too. This is going to be awesome, guys. I guarantee if Dennis has bought 2 cases of this and sent me 4 bottles of this, and this is the big bottle. This is a 750 milliliter. This is the great big bottle. Like I said, he shipped 4 of these from Florida for 20 bucks. FedEx has an alcohol sticker. Somebody has to sign for it, but it can be done. They will ship beer. FedEx will do it. So, that being said, I mean, I think that was a pretty good deal shipping 4 of these. I mean, that's awesome. That blows been the celery out of the damn water. I don't even want to talk about that. Let's give it a sip, guys. Cheers. Wow. 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 That has a big taste. My gosh, that's got a big taste. The aftertaste is wonderful. That first taste is just knock you down in your pow. Oh my God. Oh my God, that's awesome. Chocolate, espresso, caramel, bittersweet chocolate. It is. Wow, look at the lacing on that glass. This is a very young beer, a very big beer. The first sip, it just slapped me upside the face. The alcohol, the coffee is so. The alcohol is not super intense, but the coffee and the bittersweet chocolate is ultra intense. My God, it's like chocolate milk. Look at the lacing on that glass. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is an A beer. I know why he went crazy over this. Wow. This is probably the most intense Imperial Stout. It's awesome. It's definitely in the top 5 for what I'm tasting now. We'll see if I feel the same way at the end of the beer. It's right out of the fridge, it's 40 degrees. The alcohol is going to intensify as it warms up. I do know that. But this is a pretty tasty beer. It's a complex beer. It's got a lot of stuff going on. I imagine there's going to be some dark fruit and everything coming out on this once it warms up. Stick around, I'll be right back. I'm doing it on myself. I think this is a, I think this may be a 10. I know it's an A beer. Stick around, see where we end up on this one. Thank you, Dennis. Alright guys, I'm back. There are great breakfast stouts, or great, no breakfast. There are great stouts. There are Imperial Stouts. There are double Imperial Stouts. I don't think I've seen a triple Imperial Stout, so I don't know where that category stops, where it's Imperial and not Imperial. When I start thinking of Imperial, I think of like a 7% and more. Because I've had, I don't know, would you consider a 6% beer, guys, an Imperial Stout? Does it have to be a 7% to be Imperial? What is your feelings on that? Do y'all think we can brew a 6% Imperial Stout? What is the feeling on that? This is 11%. Founders is usually my best, my go-to, the reasonable price. They're not gouging me, not a special release so much. They do brew it certain, but I can usually get that most of the time. Founders Breakfast Stout. That is usually at the top of my list when I think of stouts. A great stout. And a little bit on the bigger side too, because the Founders is, I think it's like 9% or something like that. 8.30 ABV, what it says on the Founders. So, and this is 11%. So it's almost, as far as I'm concerned, into the triple. If we're going to consider the Founders at 8 or 9%, a double or an Imperial, is triple more than Imperial, or is an Imperial more than a triple? I think this is just the next step up from like a Founders. Founders is my number one 8 to 9% Imperial. This is my number one 11% Imperial. Now this is a seasonal beer, and there are awesome beers that are out there, like the Backwoods Bastard and several other that are seasonal and very, very hard to get. And I know this is hard to get too, but still. This is an awesome beer, guys, and without me flapping my gums any further, it is a 10. This is a 10 beer. I'm going to do the final chug, but I've already made that decision. This is awesome. The viscosity is very, very nice. It is awesome. Now that it's warmed up, the alcohol is more present like it always is, but the chocolate, the coffee, the roasted malt, the dark fruit, the figs, the dates, the raisins, the tobacco. This has got it going on. This really does have it going on. That's why my buddy Dennis has gone nuts over this. It's pretty tasty. If I could get this all the time, or get it once a year, I would definitely stock up like he has done. Wow. Final chug, guys. The other half loved it. I am not going to leave that little sip in there. If I could get my tongue to the bottom of the glass, I would. Gene Simmons, where you at? It's awesome. It is a 10 beer. As far as I'm concerned, if I could get this, like Dennis has got this, like he said, he had 2 cases put away, so bravo for that. But 2 cases, that's 12, and 12, that's 24 bottles. Wow. Depending on how far you want to sell this, and I don't think Dennis is a cellaring kind of guy, this stuff will probably disappear at 2 bottles a month until it's gone, unless he gets another fridge and puts it out in the garage. So I don't think he's got a beer fridge yet, but I think he's working on it. So with that being said, guys, Rate Beer has this at 100 overall and 98 in the style. I could not agree more with that. And Beer Advocate comes up with, what we got here? We're having a technical difficulty here. Beer Advocate comes up with 93, which is in there exceptional. I kind of agree there. It's an exceptional beer. Pretty tasty. Like I said, the wife enjoyed it, loved it. I think it's probably one of the best Imperial Stouts I've ever had. It's a notch above the Breakfast Stout as far as ABV. This is not quite as sessionable as a Breakfast Stout. I wouldn't want to drink this for breakfast. This will kick your freaking ass. With that being said, guys, if you've had this one, let me know what you think of it. And if you live in Florida and you can get Cigar City beers and you like a stout and you hadn't had this, you ought to slap yourself, because this ought to be on your list to get. So with that being said, guys, hit the like button if you like it, and let's look in the fridge tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be as good as this one, but we can only hope. See everybody then.